Hello everyone, my name is Abbas Ali Zaidi and welcome to OpenPlant Tech Tip Tuesday. Today we are going to look at how to create custom equipments, and not just create custom equipments, but after they've been created and placed in OpenPlant Modeler session, if you have any changes, how to modify its geometry.
Okay, so let's zoom into OpenPlant Modeler window and let me minimize this Word document here. So let me change the view for this model, and in this model I've created some microstation solids, and so here we have a cone, a cylinder, again a cone, a cylinder, a sphere, and couple of more cylinders to form a shape of a nozzle. So idea is here just to represent that you can draw any geometry, any graphics. Typically you may be getting some equipment drawings from vendors which will be using a plain microstation either to draw some of your equipments, or some other vendor tools to draw these equipment. So we can import all the graphics, so any graphics files that can be imported into MicroStation can be used here. We can also use equipments defined in AutoPipe vessel. So if you are running analysis, defining your equipments in AutoPipe vessel software, you can import those graphics here, just the plain graphics or as well as complex graphics, and eventually they'll come here as disjointed individual graphics. So once you have the graphics, to create a custom equipment out of this is pretty easy. We will just select all the graphics that we are interested in. So let me just select these. So I've selected about 7 graphics here, and we'll come to this create equipment command here. Once I click this, I'm presented with a dialog, and it lists different types of equipments, and for each type there is actual equipment type. So for each classification I have a few options here, and I can choose to select any. Let me just select vessel here, and for vessel type, I'll classify this as a vertical vessel. So this dialog basically is built on the existing EC classes that are defined in this schema. Creating custom equipment doesn't really add a new class into this schema, but it utilizes whatever classes are shown in these categorization or classification equipment, as well as types of individual equipment. So you can add more classes here if you have defined some new classes in your schema. And before I create this custom equipment, let me quickly show you this schema. Okay, so let me bring up schema here. So I've opened a 3D schema, supplemented it with supplemental modeling, and I'm looking at plate type heat exchanger. So for the class that you want to add into that drop down, you will add this custom attribute called custom geometry, and add the group name here. So this class will start appearing in the drop down dialog. Okay, so when I select the geometry, click on create equipment, and I'll hit create. When I hit the create button, the equipment is now converted into our vertical vessel EC component, OpenPlant Modeler defined component, and this placement dialog pops up. Here you have a chance to change or modify any of the values or the properties of that particular equipment that you want to set, starting from your tag information to the unit area associations. So if let's just select randomly few values here to define that this unit is this equipment is associated with this unit. I can also browse for tag if I'm connected to iModel Hub, and choose any available tag for equipment that is either defined in our web application of tag management, or has been created in PNID and is not used in any 3D instance. So I can change all the properties here that are of interest, and most of these properties are editable. So for an instance, you can type in anything. Just an example, we're for a plant name, we're writing test plant, and this way you just define the equipment and hit the apply changes dialog. So now if I browse my cursor, notice that from the individual cylinders and cones that were being selected earlier, this whole equipment is now selected as one unit. It behaves as a component that is placed in OpenPlant Modeler. It will go into iModel Hub, check out from iModel Hub. If I have to edit this equipment, I can right click and select the drop option. When I select drop, notice that this border forms on the side of this equipment. This envelope basically now contains all the EC information. And once we've dropped the equipment, notice that again all these individual primitives that I had originally selected are back to their original state. So that way, since this is not a parametric component, you can right click, do a drop, keep this envelope, and now we can choose to say change some geometry, bring this back, maybe move this back here, and change just the shape of my equipment if I have to. Okay, so this way quickly you can modify any shape, attach more primitives to this particular piece of equipment. So once I've changed the shape, all the information, like I said, is contained in this envelope. I'll hit the create component command again, select all the primitives again, and use this update existing. Once I do that, it asks me to select any existing custom component to update its graphics. So the existing custom component is this boundary, and I can select this one. As soon as I select it, you see that envelope boundary is gone, and now these primitives again start to behave as one piece of equipment, and their level has and it shows as with the tag of that particular equipment. So this way you can edit the geometry and recreate this custom equipment based on the information already entered in the initial creation of this equipment and stored in that envelope once you drop the equipment. So one more thing we could cover here is once the custom equipments are placed, they can come with some nozzle graphics as well as without nozzles. So I've seen both type of implementations of the drawings received by users. If it's coming from autopipe vessel, they may have all the nozzles already designed, so they will come with the actual sizes and information as well as the graphics. So for these, there are three ways you can place nozzles on custom equipments. One is the free-form nozzle. So I'll select freeform nozzle. The dialog box pops up here, which lists the current nozzles that I have available in my spec. I can select the desired nozzle, and so this freeform nozzle recognizes the shape of the equipment, and you can select the exact location that we want to place this nozzle. Say I can place a bunch of nozzles here in similar to custom equipment. In the placement dialog, I can add the properties, update the tags, or do any other changes. So this way these nozzles can be very easily placed. So let me just place one more. Even for nozzles, I can browse for tag and select any existing tag that is available in the either iModel Hub or already used in a PNID. So this is one way to place nozzles on custom equipments. The other way is to reutilize the nozzle graphics that come with the custom equipment. And for this, we'll use the option of placing a nozzle locator. Let me just change the size here and say I'll select size 18. Come back to my equipment tab and choose the nozzle locator. So nozzle locator is basically a point. You select the equipment and then you can choose to select a point. So in the center, I'll just place nozzle locator. Again, just like nozzle, it has all the intelligence of a nozzle. It creates a connection point at the end of this flange graphics. You can add all the information that's relevant for a nozzle, so that when you generate isometrics or you connect two piping components, it picks up all the information that you've entered here: size, specification, rating, facing, everything, and all the properties. They are reutilized. So you don't really place the graphics of the nozzle, but you can just place this nozzle locator and use this as a connection point. And the third way to place nozzles on custom equipment is nozzle manager. But for that, you first have to create a custom user-defined datum and then place nozzles based on that datum.
So today we learned that dropping a custom equipment geometry retains the EC properties in an envelope, and we can apply that to redefine geometry, totally different geometry, or some updated geometry for custom equipments. So that's a quick way to customize or edit the equipments, especially because the shapes can be different, each equipment is unique. And this quick tip can help you expedite the overall design process. So I hope this was helpful. Thank you for watching this tech tip.